Hey everybody, preferred selection here. Today we're going to be doing a Photoshop tutorial on how to make some title cards. And we're going to be talking about a whole bunch of fun things like layer effects and smart objects and just kind of the general magic that you have to do to make a font look kind of like a lovely hand-painted logo. This will save you a lot of work when you are making like episode titles and stuff, and it'll also make people think you are a wizard, because look at that Rogue Legacy episode 5 thing and watch me type 6, hit save, and then magically that's a 6. How does that work? Like, that's crazy. Clearly all of these lovely letters are hand painted. Like, look at all. That's not what fonts look like. Fonts are like they look like this. Like, hi, I'm a font. I look like that. I don't have any stuff on me. That's where you're wrong, guy. I just made up. If you use layer effects, your fonts can have stuff on them like that. And I will show you how to do this. First, you need a new document, I guess. Then you want a color or something, because you're not going to be working on white like someone who's just using Photoshop for the first time. Work on a color. Then you're going to go get your Rogue Legacy logo that you're just going to find on Google by Googling Rogue Legacy logo image. This one was all nice and cleaned up. I didn't have to do anything to it. Then you're going to go looking for a nice font, which we're going to make this like 144, like 150. Like, I don't know how big I want this, but nice font right on that center line. And we're going to type out episode 5 and move that down a little bit so it's not like right. Yeah, episode 5. And we probably don't want it to be bright gold, do we? Or that's not gold, that's pink. But we don't want it to be pink, we want it to be gold. Yeah. So what we have here, let's take stock really quickly. This is a font that somebody made, and this is a logo that somebody made. So before we go further, we have to ask ourselves, are we allowed to use this? Is this okay? This is a free font, and this logo, indie developers seem like they're generally cool with people using stuff like this in Let's Plays, so we're good. But always ask yourself those questions before you use somebody else's art. Ask yourself if it's okay, because somebody went to a lot of trouble to make it. So yeah, we're here. We have episode 5 staring at us, and it's like, hey, I don't look like this yet. I don't understand how you did that. Make me special like my father. So we're gonna give it the treatment. We're gonna bring it into the I don't know, some kind of, we're gonna make it magic. Yeah, magical font. So we don't select it. I don't know why I'm doing that. We're going down to blending options. We open up our layer styles, and we are going to just start clicking on random things. We're not really going to be, at this point you're probably like closing this video, you're like, this is like some kind of parody tutorial. No, for real. If you're new to layer effects, just click on random stuff. There's not that much to click on. How else are you going to learn except by clicking on all this stuff? But in this case, I know what I want to do. I want to go into Bevel and Emboss, and I want like a hard chisel because I know that's going to look right. I'm going to size it up a little bit. I'm not going to bother smoothing it out. I'm going to go to contours, and I'm going to pick either this one or that one. I don't know. I think I went with this one on the last one. I'm going to go with that one on this one. It doesn't have to be perfect. Maybe mess with the angle. No, angle was fine. I don't remember what it was, but yeah, something like this. Try and yeah, that's good. That's good. So go and just play around with. Is this all on the screen? Yeah, okay. So I'm gonna try and move this. I'm gonna try and keep this all on the screen. I'm not used to working this small. This is like half my monitor right now that I'm using to record this, because I'm recording at 1080p. So just grab, I would love to have like a nice dual monitor setup, but instead I have one giant monitor, which makes things a little awkward sometimes. Yeah, so bevel and emboss, we're getting started, but I think I actually want like a darker like base, maybe in between. Yeah, like I think I want that as a base. Then get back into layer effects land and go to gradient overlay. And then we're going to go down here. And we're going to play with some gradients. It'll be good times. I'm trying really hard not to make the Windows 8 like bing, you like clicked on something wrong. It'll probably happen at least once in this video, and I'm very sorry, but doing my best. Get that gold. This yellow is really nice. And then we'll get like a color from like over here. That looks pretty good. We don't need something that's like perfect for the tutorial. And now if I was like really working on this like hard, I would go back and forth a little bit. I'd work back and forth between the bevel and emboss that I got started and this, and I'd kind of try and like, you know, just generally improve things. Like that's too much. Yeah, like I'm not gonna mess around with it too much because I'm really afraid of the Windows 8 beep sound that I always make when I'm clicking around in here. But we've got to generally, you know, I'm gonna give it just a little bit more. Yeah, okay. Is that gold a little bit too much? No, I think the gold's fine. Yeah, we're getting pretty close to what we want. So the next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna add a stroke, and we don't want it to be bright red like that. Let's pretend that we were not very observant and we looked at this font and we said, you know, I count one stroke here. I count this like yellow or maybe this black. And then let's pretend we're done. If we're done here, we don't need smart objects at all. We can just go like 6, 7, 8, 9. Life is beautiful. We can just go so fast at changing out this title card. But unfortunately, because I'm really picky, I want like 3 strokes on this. And you'll notice that there's no real way to do that in layer effects. Like, I have the option of having a stroke, but I can't do like a bunch of nested strokes. So we're going to have to get a little crafty there, and that's where layer effects are going to come into, or that's where smart objects are going to come into play. So our first stroke, if we look at this title very carefully, the first stroke on here is actually kind of like a tan. Try and select that very carefully. Then this one is going to be kind of like, we're going to grab like that brown. Oh, I did a terrible job of grabbing that brown. Continuing to do a terrible job. I'm just going to go in and select it. Yeah, like something like that. It's pretty close. So that's our first stroke. I think I want it to be like 2 pixels because it seems like it's a little smaller than the other ones. You know what? We'll make it 3. We'll make it 3. I think 3 is fine. So there's 2 ways to go from here. I'm going to go ahead and make a group. There's the lots of layers way, which is if you don't want to use smart objects, you could do this, where now this one, so I've copied this layer is what I'm doing. I've copied this layer, and now I'm going to go back into my blending options, going to go to stroke, and I'm going to make this larger. Going to make this a color now. I'm going to make it black. Then I'm going to make another layer, and I'm going to go back into blending options, and I'm going to go to stroke. I'm going to make this larger, and I'm going to make this like that gold that's kind of like floating around in here a little bit. I think it's like, it's kind of like that. So this way requires a lot of shenanigans to update. Like let's say I wanted to make it episode 81. Type 81, hide that. Type 81, hide that. Type 81, and then we bring these back. So that worked, but it was kind of frustrating. Not frustrating, but it took a little bit. It took a little bit to get there. especially if we wanted to, let's say we wanted to make this like special, then we're really looking at a little bit of a time loss typing special like 3 times over. Like not much time. Like this is a valid way to do this. This is absolutely a valid way to do this. It gets more complicated if we had like some hand kerning in between the letters, because we would lose that. I'm just going to go ahead and say, and I hope you guys will trust me on this, doing things this way will only get you so far. It's got limitations. Like if you're trying to do a bunch of nested layer effects with groups or with a bunch of layers, you're only going to get so far. It's going to be frustrating after a while. The better way to do this is to right click on this layer and make this I don't know if you guys can see this. I'm going to move this over a little bit. You right click on this layer and you group this into a smart object. And then you double click. And then in here, you go ahead and do whoop, got ahead of myself. So this is a smart object now. It doesn't have any layer effects because all those live in there. Like this is now, if we double click on this, this is now where all of these layer effects live. And out here, we have a clean slate. So we make a stroke and we'll make this one black. And no, come back. Then we're going to do this once more. Hold on. I'm going to really quickly I hate to do this on video, but Photoshop is being mean to me. Anyway, so we did that, and then I can't remember where we were on this. I think we need to make a new smart object and then do another stroke. And then this one is going to be that golden color. Okay, so now how do we update this one that we made with smart objects? I'm going to go and click on this. And we're going to click on this to get into the original thing that we did. Make that a 6. Then we're going to hit save. We're going to close. Going to hit save. We're going to close. And then we get it updates down there. So it's a little bit of work to go through all these like nested smart object layers to get to where we're going. But notice we only have to type special once. We saved a little bit of time, maybe. And then it updates down there. So pretty much done. I think a little bit of a drop shadow would be a nice touch. Maybe like a little bit of a drop shadow. Maybe just the faintest outer glow as well. Maybe. I'm making it intentionally really bright so I can see where it is right now. But get it like right there and make it kind of like a red. And yeah, we're done. So that is how you do layer effects in 2 different ways. You can use the group method for something like what I just did. You could use smart objects. Smart objects will get you farther. But that's the general gist of layer effects. All I can really recommend is play around with them, try things. I've seen people with 20 years of Photoshop experience just like click through a list, because they don't know how it's going to look. Who knows how it's going to look? You just got to learn by doing, really. But I suggest you play with layer effects, and if you want to see more Photoshop stuff from this channel in the future, give a like or a comment or just general feedback on the video, show your support, and there will be more Photoshop coming your way. But yeah, that's it from me. Have a good one, guys. See you next time.